afternoon. Welcome to our weekly Tuesday webinar. I'm Yomika Bennett, Executive Director of the New York Charter Schools Association. I'm joined today by Kathryn Connell-Espinosa, Chief of Staff at SUNY Charter Schools Institute, who's standing in for Susie today. David Frank, Executive Director of the Charter Schools Office at NYSID, Aaron Cochran and Laurie Hazeley from New York City DOE, and Corey Callahan from the New York City Charter Center. We want to start out thanking everyone. Thanks to all of you who joined us last week for our virtual conference. Almost 600 charter friends, including parents and alumni from across the state and around the country, came together to discuss how charter schools innovate and empower their students, families, and communities. We're dropping links to a few highlights into the chat, including keynotes from 8 Black Hands, Senator Kevin Thomas, and a Spotify playlist put together for the session, They Want Our Rhythm But Not Our Blues, hosted by leaders of color in New York City. So if you just listened to all of that and you missed the conference, you might be wondering what happened at the conference. You missed it. You can check it out. If you registered, you can still go there. If you attended the conference and you missed some of the sessions, you can continue to access the content via Hoover app to catch up on any sessions you missed, and I highly recommend it. 2 updates from SED. Hopefully we're not stealing David's thunder here. Please complete the digital equity survey by 12/1. This provides SED with important information about local access to things like Wi-Fi and devices. It's important for charter schools to complete this survey to give SED, as well as the state legislature and the governor's office, a complete picture of digital equity across the state. What I don't have, David, is a link or more information how to do that, so I didn't steal all of your thunder.
Yumika, you know me. I'm always ready with a good link, so I'll just put it in the chat.
All right, thank you. In addition, we want to call your attention to the memo released yesterday about ESSER funding, which is available in the link we're dropping in the chat as well. So you will be linked up today. Please check out the chat. Even if you have already applied for these funds, the ESSER funds back in August, you need to reapply by November 23rd. Also available at that link for the ESSER is a spreadsheet showing specifically how much funding each school can expect to receive. Finally, as you may be aware, the governor's cluster initiative was updated with specific addresses and regions that are classified as red, orange, and yellow. Those updated maps are available at another link we're dropping in the chat, as well as a link with the details for the changes overall. So you'll see 2 more links, like I said, on the cluster initiative. One has the updated maps. The other has details of the changes that the governor made to the cluster initiative. These changes took effect for schools yesterday. If your school is newly in the yellow zone and you need help accessing or understanding your obligations for 20% of your staff and students, please let us know. That completes all my updates. David, Laurie, and Kathryn, any updates from your team? We'll start with you, Kathryn.
All right. Well, thank you, Yomika. As she mentioned, my name is Kathryn Connell-Espinosa. I'm the Chief of Staff here at the SUNY Charter Schools Institute. So I want to first say well done to everybody at the association team on the amazing conference last week. There were many great sessions, and we can only imagine how much planning went into this, especially navigating some of the technical complexities in having it be an all virtual conference. So congratulations to all of you for pulling it off so smoothly. It was wonderful to see so many school leaders presenting and participating in the sessions, sharing expertise, helping everybody get stronger, and prioritizing the creation of great seats for kids across the state of New York. It's been another busy week for us at the Institute. Some members of the team actually just finished presenting this afternoon at NACSA related to our active ingredients project. This is something that folks will continue to hear more about in the coming weeks and months as we get ready to launch phase 2, which will run from January through June of next year. So look forward to more information on that. A couple of quick updates. Yomika shared the information on the yellow zone. So that is great. Thank you, Yomika. For SUNY authorized schools, just the reminder related to beds enrollment that was due October 8th. Please be sure that those submissions are going through Epicenter. We have approximately 25 outstanding schools and are hoping to get that down to 0 this week. So thank you for completing those submissions. The audits are due November 2nd. We have had several schools already submit those, so a huge thank you to those that already have. And just another reminder about, if you haven't gotten it in, that to do so quickly, because November 2nd is right around the corner. And finally, another new requirement that folks probably have seen in Epicenter is a school contact information request. And if you haven't submitted this yet, please be sure to do so. And we're just collecting this brief form annually to ensure that we have all of the most current contact information for school team leaders, as well as network leaders in Epicenter. So, and that is it from the Institute team. Thank you.
All right, thank you. David, do you have an update for us?
I sure do, and it's good to be back here on Tuesday. First and foremost, thank you for everyone for bearing with us as you need to resubmit your ESER application, and that was a result of some action at the federal level, and so we do need to collect that information again. So please don't leave any money on the table. You can use information that you previously submitted. We just unfortunately need that additional application. Regarding the digital equity survey, it's critically important that the state collect information like this. It actually helps us to address needs out in the field. And one way that we were able to use data collected through surveys like the digital equity survey was actually requesting a waiver to the United States Department of Education to help support the transition that your schools made from brick and mortar to remote instruction this past spring. And we actually heard yesterday that the USDOE approved our waiver. And so very shortly, I don't have many details right now, but we're going to be putting out an application for all charter schools. We're actually going to be able to give you $150 per student, up to $49,999.99. But I know it's not it's a drop in the bucket for all the things that your schools are doing to support students, but it can cover costs like professional development, closing the digital divide, or just making those transitions in general. So stay tuned, but we are going to be able to give you a little bit of money that none of you were probably expecting, which is fantastic. There are some rules around that. For example, if you're a school that's one education corporation but have multiple charters, I believe you're only going to be able to get one set of funds, but every little bit helps. So we're glad to be able to take some of the data that we collect and then translate it into real dollars and cents for you. So I know it sounds cliched, but thank you for helping us collect all of that information. Just a few more things. We've been talking a lot about SED memos, and I put a link in the chat. We try to compile all of the important SED memos into one place on our website. So that should be a link that all of you bookmark, and make sure that you check there to see memos like the ESER guide, ESER memo, digital equity memo, instructions on what to do when your school needs to close in-person instruction and transition to remote or reopen for hybrid instruction. So please use that link. It's very important. We also, as Kathryn said, information, fiscal documents, your audited financials and management letters are due to us if you're a Board of Regents, New York City DOE, or Buffalo Authorized Charter School on November 2nd. You can use the IDEX application, which is located in the IRS business portal to submit that information. Like I said, your audited financial statements and other supporting documents. This information was previously submitted through the charter school office's own portal, which was part of the annual reports, but now it's being collected through IDEX. Board of Regents authorized charter schools should also upload their audited financial statement templates, which is an Excel document, through that portal. I don't have to repeat the instructions for SUNY schools, was Kathryn mentioned it. And just as a reminder, the new ESSA Fiscal Transparency Report is expected to go live early next week at the latest. And all charter schools, regardless of authorizer, are required to complete that report by November 30th of 2020 this year. And there will be guidance forthcoming regarding this report when it goes live. We're actually, we're finishing up some beta testing with some guinea pig schools, and we're excited to do that. Just a few more things. As a reminder, we've actually gotten a few emails about this, but sometimes because of the pandemic, students disenroll from your school. They might attend another school, they might move out of state, they might have excessive absences and you disenroll them. Just as a reminder, pursuant to state law, you cannot automatically re-enroll those students. They need to go through your waitlist process. And so we've gotten a lot of questions about that. So I did want to mention it. And I think that's all the news that's to print. So sorry for going long, but sharing some new funding isn't half bad for the price of admission. So, and by the way, this is for all of your colleagues who don't attend these calls. You've heard it here first. This is the first place we've announced it. So it's definitely worth coming to these Tuesday calls.
All right, that's great. Thank you, David. Let's see, Laurie, do you have an update?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. David, that was an amazing update, and thank you. That's awesome news about the additional funds that schools can apply for. That's great. So thank you all for the work that you did for that.
Yeah, it's CSP funds as well.
CSP, great. All right. So I don't have any amazing updates like that. I just have two very quick reminders, as my colleagues have discussed, for DOE authorized charter schools. Your first round of reporting requirements are due November 2nd. And just a quick reminder to continue to keep me in the loop as your reopening plans change. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, great. Those really were great updates. We're all done now here today. We can go home. No, kidding. Don't anybody leave. No, those are great updates. Thank you very much. We just have one question pre-planned, and it's a question we got earlier, and I believe we have the answer to it, but it's worth saying again and repeating, I believe. And this question is this: if a new school, and this is probably for you, David, it's for you, coming your way. If a school is new as of last year and did not receive Title I funds, does that mean they are ineligible to apply for the CARES Act funding?
Unfortunately, yes, that is the case. It's based on your title allocation, and so if you are not a Title I eligible school, you would not receive ESSER funds based on the formula set forth by the United States Department of Education.
All right, thank you, and thank you for pronouncing them ESSER. I will follow that lead.
Or however you say it, tomato, tomato.
ESSER, Esther, it's okay, potato, potato. We also got a question that came up that was answered, but I'm just going to answer it out loud just for anyone who needs to hear it in terms of the remote board meetings, the authorization for the executive order that is extended until November 3rd. That's all I have, Anna. I'm going to turn it over to you now.
All right. We got a lot of follow-on questions to those great announcements. So Kathryn, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with you. So a school's asking if they have changed their reopening plan. Do they submit an updated plan through Epicenter, or do they just email you all either with a new plan or to highlight the things that are different?
Great question. They can, anybody that has any changes to the plans can email us at charters@suny.edu. Actually that description, Anna, is perfect. If you can, and if you have the updated plan, attach that. If you can highlight what those changes are, even better. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right, David, I've got a whole bunch of sort of bureaucratic, I'm not going to call it administrivia because it's all very important, but coming at you, rapid fire. There are a couple of questions about the changes to the ESSER application. And I guess in my mind it's ESSER, but I'll say ESSER, ESSER. And I might like glom them all together, if you will. So how the changes to the application, like, do you have a sense of what specifically is different? And then were the allocations altered?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question. And so frustratingly, for charter schools, very little has changed. In fact, I would go so far as to say, I don't think much of anything has changed. Things have changed dramatically on the district side, but unfortunately, due to things beyond our control at the state ed department, we do need to recollect the information. But the good news is, again, worth the price of admission because it's funding that you're getting. And the good news for charters is that that funding is not decreasing. For district schools, the funding might decrease because there are some consultation requirements with non-public schools. Again, charter schools are public schools, so you're not under that. But the changes are really on the district side. So a lot of the information that you already submitted can be resubmitted, or you can use it in that the new application. The best thing to do, because I'm not the expert on this, but I do have a great team, is to reach out to our Office of ESSA funded programs. And it's on page 2, at the bottom of page 2 in the memo, is all of their contact information. But of course, I will put that information in the chat as well to reach out to them.
Awesome, thank you. And thank everyone. I feel like this should be after everyone is really sure that you and everyone in your circle and everyone at your school has voted on November 3rd. This is going to be the new next, like, make sure someone has done this thing. Every charter school needs to submit an application by November 23rd. There is a spreadsheet that articulates the thousands, and that is a minimum, thousands, tens of thousands, and in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars that if you do not reapply for, you will not receive. So we will continue to like happily hound you all. And
please don't leave any money on the table. This is money that you can use to support the communities you serve. And I know it's frustrating to have to submit another application, but it's funding that really can go a long way. And it doesn't look good to leave money on the table, because then people in places like the Division of the Budget say, hey, we don't need to allocate as much funds to charter schools because they're not taking advantage of these types of programs.
Totally agree. So David, to keep it marching on, can you talk a little bit about the federal single audit, and then which you marked in the Q&A that you plan to answer, and then similarly guidance regarding the annual report goals in terms of Regents exams calculations?
Yeah, so I am not an accountant or an auditor. I would recommend reaching out to your accountant or auditor about this, but the single audit for non-federal entities, I believe it's anyone that expends more than $750,000 in federal award funds. But
which importantly does include meal reimbursements.
Yeah, any federal funds. So CSP grantees, meal reimbursements. So then you would file a federal single audit, but I would strongly recommend that you talk to your auditor about that. And that's not an SED requirement, that's a federal requirement.
Yeah, if you have any questions about that, I would just absolutely echo David. We're happy to be a resource, only because I have all the gray hairs to show how all the federal single audits that I have lived through, but your auditor should be able to tell you whether or not you are subject to it and happily charge you extra to then do it. All right, David, I'm sorry. I mushed too many things there together.
That's okay. Someone said I look like Mandy Patinkin today, and because of my beard, and I'm like, I think I look a lot younger. First,
I wouldn't have said that I would have jumped to the age reference. I think beards are in. Beards are in. I know my husband's biggest regret of the COVID period is he can't grow a good beard. So you should just lean in. On that note, so guidance regarding the SED annual report goals due November 2nd, in particular Regents exam calculations.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, the Regents exam calculations as part of the annual report goals for SED authorized schools.
Yeah, so we would just say try your best. If you can't respond to a specific goal, one, either historical data or let us know why you can't respond to that goal, or say, I can't respond to this goal, but here's some interim assessment information that we've been using in lieu of that. I would say that if you can't use longitudinal data and you can't provide a response to the goal, best practice is give us some other data that you have.
Sounds good. All right. With that, and Lisa and Paolo, I chatted at you. We're not using the raise hand feature, so if you want to enter your questions in the Q&A, please do. But in the meantime, Corey and Erin, I will hand it over to you, ladies.
Hello.
Great. Hi, everyone. Hi, Erin.
Hello.
So I didn't see a lot of questions for NYC DOE. And actually, I don't believe it. I'll hand it over to Erin. I didn't get any in advance except for health questions. So that leads me to, I put in the chat a few minutes ago, if you didn't already receive it, the invite went out to, we're doing the DOE calls bi-weekly now. So we do have a call this Friday. So if you have health questions, please make sure to join us. The other thing I wanted to do is make sure if you are a newly allocated yellow zone school, which there are a few based on the reallocations that happened, you should have received correspondence already about this, but in case you didn't, or you're just here from your school, I wanted to put in the chat also the download of the information specific for how charter schools can comply with the 20%. And obviously you can reach out to me or DOE if you have any questions about that. And with that, I will turn it to Erin to see if you have any announcements, and if folks have any questions for DOE, we can do those now. If not, we'll see you guys on Friday for the DOH call.
$50,000. Sorry, that's just not fair.
Thanks, Corey. So we just have one quick announcement, and more is going out in the charter school addendum today. But we just wanted to share that the preliminary school quality report and embargoed NYC school survey results are live. So the link will be sent in the addendum, and school leaders will log on to the link using your DOE credentials to see your school's report and data and information. One big heads up is that all of this data is embargoed. So you're welcome to share it with your team, but please do not share it publicly. Any updates that you would like to make to your school quality report must be made in whatever the source system is by next Tuesday, November 3rd, and that would include any submissions that you have made and need to update, or that you need to make for the first time using the Excel data collector. So more information is going out in the addendum, but if you have any questions, please email charterdata@schools.nyc.gov. And I want to in particular flag that this not only is a great resource for families to be able to find an excellent charter school to apply to, and for you to publicize the great work that you're doing to all kinds of different audiences. In addition to that, it is also incredibly important for DOE authorized charters to ensure that this data is accurate and to make any corrections needed, because some of the data sources in the school quality report are in fact used for renewal and other authorizing reports. So just a heads up there. That is my only announcement.
Great.
All right.
Yes, and Matt, I see your question. So this is being sent to through the charter addendum, and certain folks on the Galaxy TO will have access to the report via their DOE login.
Great. And then Julie's question about, is there a way to get charters into the randomized testing that the UFT and the DOE are doing? My understanding, Erin, correct me if I'm wrong, is that that is still not a program that is accessible to charter schools, even if they're co-located.
Correct. No updates on that. Oh, and one final plug, and Laurie mentioned this already, but this is for every single charter in New York City. If you could please let us know as early as possible when you are planning to be in your buildings, that would be immensely helpful. I think I've been seeing a lot of, oh, we opened yesterday. And it's very, very challenging to try and work to get you services on time if we find out after the fact. So just a reminder to please keep us in the loop in those conversations. And that would go a long way to making sure that you have all the resources that you need.
Great. Back to you, Yomika.
All right, great. Thank you. Well, that will wrap it up for us today. We're going to wrap a little bit early, give you some of your Tuesday afternoon back, but we will be back again next Tuesday, which will be Election Day. If you don't vote early, vote before the call, then we can talk about it now. Have a good week. We'll see you then. Thank you, everyone.